morning, everyone. Good evening, and good afternoon to viewers from all walks of life. This is Dysfunctional, and you're welcome to the channel of truth, enlightenment, freedom, and the channel of breaking empath free. If you are new on this channel, I talk about narcissism and narcissistic abuse. I talk about spirituality, and I talk about personal and self-development. And if any of that resonates with you, I invite you guys to join us. Give us a like, share the video with friends, and you may subscribe if you haven't already. And for those that have always been with us, you are welcome back, and I thank you for your love and support. So I've been off for quite a good number of days. I've been recovering from my flu. I got a flu about 2 weeks ago. It's getting better now, of course. Eventually it's getting better, so I feel much better than I used to do before. But of course, in that time I decided to step a little bit back, watch everything from a distance, recharge, work on myself, and things like that. Of course, I'm still on the recovery process. I'm getting better, of course, like I've said, each and every single day, and things are going back to normal. But today, as I was doing the recharging process, as I've been taking time off and recharging and introspecting and doing things for myself, I've had the chance to go back to the moments that I actually left a dysfunctional family. And in this video, I want to validate a lot of you guys, a lot of you empaths who are actually resonating with this, who resonate with the fact that you have been dealing with a dysfunctional family. I would like to validate the decisions that you are about to take, or the decisions that you actually have taken to leave toxic family units behind. Because you see, a lot of times you're going to find yourself doubting your questions. You're doubting yourself. You're going to find yourself doubting yourself. You will be thinking about, are you making the right decisions? Because at the end of the day, you're looking around. It looks like it's like in the whole family unit, you're the only one who gets it. You know what I mean? You could have been the black sheep, because normally when you're talking about dysfunctional families, we also talk about a particular member in that family who is particularly the black sheep, or rather the scapegoat. So that is the kid usually who gets it. You know what I mean? It's the kid who gets it. They are the kids who see everything for what it is. They're the kids who see their parents for who they are, their siblings for who they are, and most of the times they're the very first ones to slap and to understand that there is something wrong with the unit. And most of the times, those particular individuals, they find everything in their power to make sure that they extract themselves out of that unit and continue to go ahead and live their own lives according to the way they want it to be. So most of the times, it comes to that point where you think, are you making the right decisions? You know what I mean? It's like you're looking around and you feel like you're feeling guilty about the decisions you've made. You know what I mean? I've left a dysfunctional family more than a year now. If I remember well, it's more than a year now. And I can also guarantee that it hasn't been a very smooth journey. It has been a lot of it has been a journey mixed with a lot of emotions. You know what I mean? It has been very emotional, first of all, because I've told you guys you're leaving the family behind. So we're talking about people that you have been involved with for all your life, very close people, sometimes who are parents, the siblings. So it's when you're talking about leaving dysfunctional units behind, I don't say it's a walk in the park. Guys, it is going to be very, very difficult. It is going to be very stressful. It's going to be filled with a lot of emotions. Even me sometimes, of course, every now and then, I get these little triggers, you know what I mean? When I think about all the previous history of the things that I had to endure while I was still in a toxic family unit, it is something that you don't digest in a day, you know what I mean? You can sometimes spend a lot of time reminiscing on those moments. Sometimes you will usually have moments whereby you will think about a lot of these individuals. But at the same time, some people have seen and have known to sometimes they usually go back temporarily to those units and reconnect with those units, but only to find out that actually once a scapegoat, always a scapegoat. You know what I mean? So when you've decided to leave a dysfunctional unit behind, it doesn't matter what happens, guys. It doesn't matter what you do. You can decide to take them back. You can decide to go back in that unit. But I can guarantee you that within a couple of months, weeks or months down the road, you're going to notice that actually you're going back to the same position that you've always been, because I've told you guys that a dysfunctional family operates out of dysfunction. The reason why they call them dysfunctional families is because there's a lot of toxicity going on in that family, and a lot of members in that family unit they happen to be under a spell, you know what I mean? So that is a very, very deep spell that has been ingrained within, very deep within their subconscious, and a lot of members, they cannot see this. So they are under a very deep spell, and they just, on a daily basis, keep on conforming and conforming and conforming, you know what I mean? They are conforming to the family, and most of the time they're even conforming to the dysfunction. So a lot of them, they don't see the dysfunction for what it is. So a lot of family members, they try to cover up that dysfunction. They try to, you know what I mean, ignore it. So just to pretend that everything is okay. They pretend that their lives are okay. You know what I mean? So whenever somebody stands up, like in this case, we're talking about the black sheep, whenever you stand up and try to talk about that dysfunction or point out the things that are going wrong in those units, that is when a lot of members, they start actually to gang up on you, because it is somewhere, somehow, that dysfunction is run by, I've told you guys, it is run by a narcissistic parent at the top. So whenever the narcissistic parent feels that anybody in that family is in that unit is a threat, most of the times that parent, they will always try to make the other members of the unit gang up on that particular person who is trying to point out the dysfunction. Because remember that you're not supposed to see it. I've told you guys usually in my videos that when there's a dysfunction going on in an entire toxic family unit, you are not meant to see it. That's the very reason why a lot of family members, they're usually bound in that spell. You know what I mean? So none of them is supposed to wake up. None of them is supposed to see it, and none of them is supposed to wake up. So most of the times, you as a black sheep who is seeing a lot of these things going on, you know, sometimes you're pointing out stuff, you're seeing some things happening, you know, sometimes you're mentioning things, because normally the black sheep, they're very strong individuals. So most of the times when they see a lot of these things happening in the family, they try to point out a lot of things happening, and then all of a sudden, before they know it, they will usually realize that actually a lot of other family members in the unit, they usually gang up on them and they try to take them for a fool. You know what I mean? What are you seeing? What are you supposed to? Why are you talking like that? You know what I mean? Who do you think you are? Or the things like that. So those are the kind of questions you're going to find anytime you're trying to speak up against a dysfunction that is happening within the dysfunctional family unit. So usually it is painful and it is very, very emotional living a dysfunctional family, because these are guys you've been with them for a very big chunk of your life. You know what I mean? For as long as you've lived, they are part of you. You know what I mean? They are your blood family, and they are. You guys have been used to, you know, sharing common ideas. You know, sometimes sleeping in the same bed, so eating on the same plate. So you have known these guys for your entire life, but at the same time, you also understand that actually it is very, very toxic for you to evolve as an individual, to spiritually evolve and grow, as long as you're still connected to those units. So most of the times you will find yourself having stunted growth. You know what I mean? Whenever you're having projects going on, things that you think you want to do for yourself, you want to elevate yourself to the next level, you're going to notice a lot of resistance, because as a black sheep, like I've said, as a black sheep, you're not meant to be independent and think for yourself. You know what I mean? So the family usually, they always want to think for you. They want to be the ones at the forefront thinking for you, and other family members, of course, they you know, because like I've said, apart from the narcissistic parent at the top, there is also other family members in the team who are also toxic. They may not necessarily be narcissists as well, but usually you notice a lot of very, very intensive toxicity. And the only way you can see a dysfunctional family for what it is first of all for you to step aside. You see, one of the things, the challenges I found personally when I was living a dysfunctional family unit was when I started to see these patterns, and when I started to add up all these kind of little puzzles together, and I noticed that actually there was something what was not ordinary. So what I did now was first of all to get out of that unit, because I wanted to understand this what it is in the beginning. And guys, let me tell you something. This is something you need to know. When I was living a dysfunctional family unit, I did not even know that it was a dysfunctional family unit. So that is the first thing you have got to know. When I was living the unit, I did not know that I was living a dysfunctional family unit. It is until I had to step aside and step out of that unit. That is exactly I was able to point a finger at exactly where the dysfunction was coming from, who was doing what, and who was responsible for what. So that's when I was able to fit all these puzzles together. You know what I mean? So a lot of you guys who are living these units, the very first thing you will see is you will see members of that unit trying to come around and suck you back in. You know what I mean? Oh, you know, you shouldn't leave the unit. We are family, and they will be sometimes trying to compromise your freedom and your, you know, they will try to compromise your freedom and your departure, and they will come around and tell you, oh, you know, we are family. You should come around. Don't you know? Go back and talk to dad. You know, dad is always like that, or mom is always like this. You know, sometimes maybe they are angry, or sometimes they're like this. So they will always try to find all these little excuses to make sure that whatever decision you're trying to do to leave that unit, they make sure that it's not justified. So they try always to suck you back in. So you see a lot of these family members coming around. They will try to hoover you back into the unit. Most of the times, if of course, like I've said, some of the guys, if you're not strong and if you're not very good at boundaries, you're going to find yourself actually keeping on taking them back in. But whenever you take them back in, the whole unit is going to start again, and the whole dysfunction is going to start again. And normally, in most of the cases, you will usually find yourselves getting back to that position that you've always been, because a dysfunctional family unit always operates with particular members in that unit, which particular members also carry specific roles depending on the needs of the narcissistic parent. So you may find sometime, like I've said, you will find sometime. I was able to see a lot of these different roles when I extracted myself out of the unit. I was able to identify who the golden child was, the paralyzed child, the lost child, the enabling parent. I was able even sometimes to see exactly who the narcissist was in that unit. You know what I mean? So I was able to see all these other individuals in the family, and I was able to point out that dysfunction, and it was very, very disturbing, ladies and gentlemen. So the most disturbing thing you're going to see, you will notice usually when you leave a unit, is that you're going to start to see everybody for who they are. And most of the times, it's going to be very painful, very shocking. You know what I mean? It's going to be very difficult to digest. You're going to have to mourn. You're going to have to grieve. You're going to have to spend a lot of time by yourself, understanding exactly what has been going on, because you will also notice that as an individual, you have never had the chance to evolve. You've never had the chance to grow. You've never had the chance to do the things that you've always wanted to do, because at some point you also notice that you've always been dragged backwards by family members. You know, even sometimes subconsciously. You want to do a certain project, a sister will come to you, they tell, oh, you're wasting your time. Why are you doing that? That one, nobody has ever done that in our family. So who do you think you are? You know what I mean? You don't even waste your time, you know what I mean? Even sometime when you do that, dad is going to be angry. When you do this, mom is going to be angry. So you're going to find a lot of resistance whenever you're making life choices and decisions. You will usually find a lot of resistance when you try to do the things that you've always wanted to do, and you're going to notice even sometimes you're going to grow older without actually ever having to achieve those things that you've always wanted to achieve. So it is always painful, and I would like to validate a lot of empaths in this video that a lot of you guys who are living these units, the first thing is going to come to your mind is that you're doing a very big mistake. So you will sit down by yourself somewhere and you will think of all the things that you've had to endure in that family and the members, and you'll think about each and every one individually. And sometimes you're going to notice that actually you're feeling regretful about the choices that you're making. But I can guarantee you guys, along the lines, as a person who has been there, along the lines, I will guarantee you that whatever decision you're making to leave that unit is a decision that is going to propel you further, guys. It is going to propel you further, and it's going to help you grow on a very much more spiritual level, because at the end of the day, you're extracting yourself out of dysfunction. And the only way you can grow is growing without dysfunction. So there is no way you think that you're going to grow, you're going to evolve, you're going to spiritually grow and elevate yourself to the next level when you're still dealing with family members who don't want you to do or perform well. You know what I mean? So they will not support you. That one, you have to understand that they will not support you. They will not come to your rescue. So you've got to forget about things like birthdays. You're going to forget about funerals. You're going to forget about very, very big major events. I'm talking about family events. Those are the events whereby you're going to see, you are going to have to miss. You know what I mean? Because when you have left those dysfunctional family units, I'll guarantee you guys that you keep on going. You never think about anything of going back there and swimming along with the pigs. So you get out there and you keep on working on yourself. You know what I mean? A lot of things are going to come to you. The knowledge is going to come to you. The wisdom is going to come to you. You go out there, you educate yourself, you read, you learn, you know what I mean? You do everything in your power to make sure that you understand exactly what you're leaving behind. Because I will guarantee you, if you decide to stay and to hang on longer in those units, you're going to find yourself aging and growing older without actually ever being able to achieve anything for your life. You know what I mean? I've been on this journey of videos for 2.5 years now, but I can guarantee you that I've left a dysfunctional family behind. There is nobody of them. It was even sometimes better for me to see this for what it was, because I noticed there's nobody of them that has ever supported me on my journey. You know what I mean? So those people, they will not support you on your journey. Number one, why? Because most of the times when you're leaving these units, you're blowing the trumpet. As a black sheep, you're blowing the trumpet. You know what I mean? So when you're blowing the trumpet, it's like you're exposing a lot of these guys, and a lot of them don't want to go back and do the work. So they don't want to sit down with themselves and do the work and introspect and understand that, okay, so there is something what is going on in this family. So they don't want to look within, you know what I mean? So they have always had a scapegoat, you know what I mean? Whenever they wanted to do things or to blame somebody in the unit or to point fingers at somebody. There was always this little scapegoat that they would always help them to cover up their BS, whatever was going on within them. So it's like they were able to point fingers at you and blame you for the things that you haven't done. So now remember that you're blowing the trumpet. And a lot of these secrets that has been going on within the unit, they are coming out to the surface. So a lot of these family members of the entire unit, they will never accept it that you're actually waking up. They will never accept your journey. So they will always think that you're the bad one. So they will usually gang up on you. They will point fingers at you. They will deny you a lot of things. Even sometimes you will notice that if you've been involved in some kind of a wealthy family, you're not going to be called when there is some kind of inheritance going on in the family. You're not going to participate in those proceeds that are going on to the other family members. So you are always going to be left out as an individual. So you have got to know, the guys, that it is a decision that you have got to make. This is a decision that you are not supposed to, for whichever way, feel sorry for yourself for leaving toxic people behind. You know what I mean? If you know that people, they're not of your highest good, they're not helping you evolve, they're not helping you to grow. I've given you an example. Nobody has supported me along my journey. You know what I mean? I've done this thing by myself. Of course, along the journey, I've been keeping on, and I'm still keeping on finding my soul family, because when I woke up from this unit, I noticed that actually there are some other people who are like me, people who are in the same boat, and people who understand, who have walked a similar journey that I've already walked. So I kept on finding my soul family. But the real so-called family that you're thinking about, they're your family and family friends and relatives and whatever. Those are the individuals that you are leaving behind. And believe me, guys, as much as you may usually feel guilt about this decision that you're making, you will also notice that when you keep on going and elevating yourself and pushing yourself further and further, you're going to notice that actually you're not missing anything. You're not missing out on anything. You're going out to grow and you're not missing out on anything. So do not ever feel guilty for those kind of decisions you're making. A lot of you empaths out there who are leaving those units behind, don't ever feel guilty for the things you deciding to, for the journey you're deciding to do for yourself, to take for yourself. You have got to know it's going to work out for your highest good, and things are going to turn out in your favor in the long run. You may not see it in the beginning, of course, in the first couple of weeks, because you're going to go through a process of grieving, mourning, you know what I mean, the loss and everything. So you need to understand and digest the loss of leaving family units behind. But the only thing you have got to do, you have got to understand, this is for your own good, is for your own benefit. When you decide to stick around long enough, they are going to continue destroying you. Guys, if I did not leave a unit behind, I do not know where I would be at this moment. You know what I mean? So for me, when I'm talking about leaving people behind, on top of leaving the narcissist behind, because when I noticed that I was actually involved in narcissistic relationships all over and over again, it was some kind of a cycle. You know what I mean? So I had to get out and start working on myself. You know what I mean? So sometimes you have got to get out and start breaking patterns. When you're talking about breaking generational curses, you're not going to break generational curses when you're still swimming along with the pigs. You know what I mean? First of all, get yourself out of the pigsty, and then work on yourself. Because when you keep on swimming along with the pigs, you're going to get dirty along with them, and usually it will not end well with you. So empaths out there who are resonating with this video, I would like to know what has been your experience in the comment section below. Guys, you always know that I love and appreciate your support. Book a session with me, donate and support to this cause, as your donation support they push me and elevate my videos to the next level. So let me know what you think, leave us a comment, and I'll get back to you in my next one. Much love and blessings. There's more signing out, and peace.